A former intern is sharing stories about how Blake Lively made her cry.
As I walked out, I just started crying because I was afraid.
She and her husband are bullies.
Lively was embarrassed when crew members revealed the way she treated them poorly during filming publicly.
He was getting a lot of hate.
She has spent years demeaning, ridiculing, and undermining her junior co-stars while posing as Hollywood's beloved golden girl.
This is a mean girl. This isn't a good person.
Because the moment anyone dares to question her or express an opinion she dislikes, she turns their entire workday into a complete nightmare.
At first, I was so upset that they hired Penn for Gossip Girl, I actually poisoned the whole cast against him. Oh, how sweet of you.
And now it's becoming obvious that the Blake Lively people believed was Hollywood's sweetheart isn't nearly as charming once the cameras stop rolling.
Lively will probably, it'll be very difficult for anyone to ever work with Blake Lively ever again.
With her legal fight against Justinbaldoni spinning out of control, more people are coming forward to expose the real Blake Lively, revealing someone far from sunshine and designer gowns, instead appearing more like a calculated PR machine burdened with a deep sense of entitlement that many now find all too familiar.
Fucking
Mean Girl, yeah.
Also,
Wasn't she in Mean Girl?
Yeah, she was.
No, she wasn't. That's
Gossip Girl.
Gossip. She was in Gossip.
Oh, Gossip Girl, yeah.
One of the earliest blows to her image came from someone on Gossip Girl, a crew member named Ewood, not an industry heavyweight, just a man doing his job like everyone else. Yet that alone seemed reason enough for Lively to ignore him completely, and during a live event when she addressed him directly, she shockingly used the word monkey, showing disrespect. Take a look at the time according to witnesses present there that day.
As a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them.
While Leighton Meester and the rest of the cast reportedly treated the crew with basic respect, Lively allegedly behaved as if they were invisible, offering no nods, no greetings, nothing at all, as if they were just background furniture unworthy of acknowledgement. And when she did speak to them, it was said to be in a tone so condescending it could make even a kindergarten teacher uncomfortable. And if things didn't go her way, she made sure the entire set felt her displeasure.
It's to poisoning the whole cast against
But the real shock was that she wasn't just distant. She was allegedly actively trying to pull Leighton Meester down with her, even though Meester was known for being warm and approachable, something that reportedly didn't sit well with Lively at all, leading to rumors of passive-aggressive jabs and even jokes about Meester's appearance, all allegedly coming from someone who is meant to be her co-star, not a high school bully. And according to those accounts, this behavior wasn't limited to her. Gossip Girl days, but has followed a similar pattern for years.
Now other footage is coming out of Blake Lively admitting, hey, when I get involved with projects, they hire me as the actress, and sometimes I don't really tell them, but I actually want to come in and I want to rewrite it, and I want to be a producer, and I want to do all of these things.
For years, no one dared call her out because she had the ultimate Hollywood shield, married to Ryanreynolds, packed with media connections, and fully aware of how to manipulate the industry's PR machine. But now, with her legal battle against Baldoni unraveling, people finally seem bold enough to spill the tea, and they are holding back nothing.
Conversation starter, she was sitting there, I think she was probably 8 months pregnant. She had it wasn't a small bump even, it was quite big.
You have a baby on the way, congratulations.
What makes you say that?
The shark told me.
You don't ever say that to a woman.
Here's the problem. Hollywood isn't buying it anymore. The same industry that once shielded her is now treating her unraveling like a reality TV spectacle as more crew members, co-stars, and insiders come forward with accounts of her manipulative, entitled behavior. The very opposite of the sweet, funny, relatable Blake Lively fans once adored. That's not the Blake Lively people behind the scenes had to endure.
I probably have diapers in the car. Honestly, I have so many kids that I could just give you some of those.
Thank you.
The diapers, not.
And it's not limited to the Gossip Girl set. Stories are emerging from other movie sets, press tours, and interviews, all painting the same picture. A woman obsessed with control, manipulating the media like a strategic game of chess.
Stephanie's my girlfriend.
Hi, Stephanie.
Thank you
You
so
should leave him.
Hollywood is full of actors who can smile flawlessly for the cameras, but behind closed doors, the act doesn't last forever, and now, for the first time, the world is getting a glimpse of the Blake Lively that Hollywood insiders have always known.
accused of having turned the whole cast of It Ends With Us against Justin. By the time they premiered the movie, Ryanreynolds had unfollowed him on Insta, so had Blake, so had the rest of the cast.
What happened to Justin is especially heartbreaking because this time it wasn't some thoughtless joke or prank by Lively. It ended up costing him his entire career.
Justinbaldoni purchased the rights to the book, It Ends With Us. He is the producer, director, and one of the lead actors in it.
Justinbaldoni spent years working to bring It Ends With Us to life, securing the rights, pouring his heart into the script, and ensuring the adaptation did justice to Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel. This was meant to be his film, his vision, the project he had nurtured from the very beginning, but then Blake Lively entered, acting as if she owned the set, and suddenly, everything revolved around her.
Over every single aspect of the movie. The movie was really aimed at, providing education and insight and relating to the stories of what women go through when they experience DV. She made it a lighthearted thing.
From the moment she signed on, Lively allegedly made it her personal mission to take over the entire production. According to Forbes, she demanded major script changes, forcing rewrites that significantly altered key themes from the book.
So she filed a lawsuit before actually having clear evidence, and we're supposed to just continue to believe her.
What was meant to be a raw and emotional portrayal of domestic violence reportedly began to feel more like a Blake Lively self-promotion showcase. Insiders claim she constantly clashed with Baldoni, behaving as if she knew more about filmmaking than the director himself.
Seeing through it, they're seeing through the BS, and at the end of the day, they're the ones who are seeking gag orders against Baldoni from releasing information, whereas his team is saying, nope, let's put out everything.
And this wasn't just her offering suggestions, she was making demands. Reports say Baldoni was gradually pushed out of key creative decisions, his control over the project stripped away piece by piece, while Lively took over nearly every aspect of the production.
That's exactly what happened. He didn't even get to see the final cut of the movie.
Get out of here.
Because Blake Lively and Ryanreynolds came in with their own team, their own editors. They completely hijacked this thing.
Even the final cut of the film, which should have been entirely the director's decision, was reportedly taken from Baldoni's hands. Instead of the version he had spent years perfecting, the one that honored the book's emotional depth, Lively allegedly ensured it was edited by her own hand-picked team, reshaping the entire film to fit her image.
Because Blake Lively had alienated the entire cast against him. She had convinced everyone that he was this monster, this terrible person, so she could wield all creative control of the movie and end up getting her final cut of the movie, not Justinbaldoni.
But the real insult came at the film's premiere. Normally, when a director has dedicated years to a movie, they're front and center, celebrating their work, standing alongside the cast, and soaking in the moment.
She made him and his whole family go down to the basement.
Go down to the basement during the premiere of his movie. He literally was not even allowed to be at the premiere of his own movie.
The director of the film was reportedly reduced to an afterthought at his own movie's premiere, while Lively and her PR team took center stage, dominating the event.
Lighthearted thing. She wanted to talk about, wear your florals, and she used it as an opportunity to promote her alcohol brand, which is insane because many people know that alcoholism really fuels DV as well. So it was completely toned.
And if that wasn't bad enough, Lively wasn't just promoting the movie. She had another agenda, using the film's press tour to push her alcohol brand, Betty Booze. Just take a moment to grasp how tone-deaf that is. A movie about domestic violence, meant to highlight the struggles of abuse survivors, turned into a marketing opportunity for her beverage line.
And in response to this, what she did was she created a smear campaign against Baldoni, stating that actually he was making a smear campaign against her, and that's the reason why she had all of this negative backlash.
Red carpets, press interviews, social media. Lively reportedly made sure to tie the movie's release to Betty Booze at every opportunity. And if the irony isn't striking enough, alcohol is a major contributing factor in many domestic violence cases.
Such an important story. I know you don't give a shit about it, but this is such an important story. Because if they would have won against him, a guy whose dream was to be a Hollywood actor, producer, director, they could have crushed his career if they would.
Twitter and Reddit erupted, with fans calling her out instantly, highlighting how wildly inappropriate it was to use a film about abuse victims to promote alcohol. One viral tweet even compared it to using a cancer awareness campaign to sell cigarettes. The backlash was swift, brutal, and entirely justified.
Compares herself to Khaleesi. I believe she has dragons. She's like, I have dragons just like Khaleesi. I have Ryanreynolds and Taylor Swift. They were doing everything they could to intimidate this guy, who is a much smaller actor than Blake Lively.
And just like that, the movie's entire promotional campaign descended into a PR nightmare. But instead of taking responsibility, Lively did what she always does. She flipped the narrative. As criticism poured in, she cast herself as the victim, subtly implying in interviews that Baldoni was the real problem, portraying herself as the one fighting for creative control, conveniently ignoring the fact that she had already taken it.
By the way, he's finished. He's done. Like, in Hollywood, nobody's gonna touch him. So that person that you're talking about, it's him.
Kevin
His
Spacey
dreams,
will.
everything that he's done. And then Amy, just really fast, can you go back to the editing process? There was text messages where the editor was like, to him.
By the time production wrapped, the power struggle between Lively and Baldoni had become one of Hollywood's worst-kept secrets. Multiple reports confirmed their working relationship had completely collapsed, and insiders even suggested that Baldoni tried to push back, but with Lively's powerful connections and media influence, he didn't stand a chance. Then came Lively's damage control, though ironically, the only real damage appeared to be done to Baldoni.
Baldoni counter-sued Lively and her husband Ryanreynolds for defamation and extortion. On Wednesday, Lively filed an amend law complaint stating she was not alone in raising allegation of onset.
In December 2024, Blake Lively filed a high-profile lawsuit against It Ends With Us director Justinbaldoni, accusing him of sexual harassment, body shaming, and orchestrating a smear campaign against her. The lawsuit appeared designed to damage Baldoni's reputation while positioning Lively as the victim of a toxic male co-star abusing his power. Baldoni countersued Lively and her husband, Ryanreynolds, for defamation and extortion. On Wednesday, Lively submitted an amended complaint claiming she was not alone in raising allegations of on-set misconduct. Her legal team aggressively controlled the narrative, providing carefully curated statements to major outlets like Variety, Deadline, and The Hollywood Reporter, which ran headline after headline highlighting Lively's claims and portraying Baldoni as a director who made her feel unsafe on set. Even Ryanreynolds, Hollywood heavyweight and Lively's husband, publicly backed her, ensuring the story dominated social media, celebrity gossip pages, and late-night talk shows.
As a response to this, she was getting a lot of hate. In fact, people were posting old interviews of her that weren't even really relevant at all to the movie, but they're just highlighting this is a mean girl. This isn't a good person.
For a moment, it seemed Baldoni's career might be over before he even had a chance to defend himself. But then he fought back. By January 2025, Baldoni filed a $400 million counterclaim against Lively and Ryanreynolds, alleging defamation and extortion. His legal team didn't just deny the accusations, they came prepared with text messages, documents, and first-hand accounts that directly contradicted Lively's claims.
He's a male feminist. He loves women. He cares. He's doing all.
Then came the leaks, and they were devastating for Lively's case. The biggest hit came when private text messages between Lively and Baldoni surfaced, completely undermining her allegations. One of her strongest claims had been that Baldoni invaded her privacy, allegedly walking in on her while she was breastfeeding. The media ran with it, publishing headlines about her being humiliated on set and having her privacy violated by a man in power.
In her complaint, she said things like he walked in on her breastfeeding. She said things like he chastised her for her.
Except the text told a very different story. A leaked exchange from July 2023 revealed that Lively had actually invited Baldoni into her trailer while she was breastfeeding. The message read,
in fact, messaged him saying, hey, I'm breastfeeding right now, but come into my trailer. Let's go ahead and run some lines.
Not only did this contradict her own lawsuit, but it also proved that Baldoni wasn't the aggressor. He was following her lead. Then there was the body-shaming allegation, another claim that ignited social media. Lively accused Baldoni of making comments about her weight, suggesting he had pressured her about her appearance while filming. Once again, the leaked text messages completely dismantled this argument.
Referencing her legal team's attempt to subpoena his text messages,
Baldoni had simply asked how much weight training he needed to do to lift her safely in a scene, a completely standard question for actors performing physically demanding stunts. The leaked text read,
She made a comment that Baldoni said she was too heavy for him to lift. That's not true. He simply said, I have a back injury. How much should I train to be able to lift you? Something along those lines. And she made it a complaint about weight, and then they actually put it in the Deadpool movie.
Lively had twisted this into a body-shaming attack, making it seem as if Baldoni had criticized her weight, when in reality, he was simply ensuring both of them were safe. Perhaps the most damning evidence, however, came from her own refusal to meet with the intimacy coordinator, a red flag that completely undermined her lawsuit.
One of the other conditions, she said, we need to have an intimacy coordinator on set because I'm not comfortable with being close with you because you're doing all these inappropriate.
Lively claimed that Baldoni had made her uncomfortable during intimate scenes and that she felt unsafe without proper boundaries on set. But when Baldoni offered to bring in an intimacy coordinator, a standard industry practice for scenes involving physical closeness, Lively declined. A leaked text from May 2023 showed Baldoni reaching out.
Provided a text message showing, hey, I have an intimacy coordinator. I'll get you on a call with her. No, I'm fine, thank you. I don't need to meet with the intimacy coordinator. So essentially, every single thing that she's claimed against him has been disproved.
Lively's response, no, I'm good, thank you. So not only did she refuse the support that could have prevented any potential issues, but months later she acted as if Baldoni had violated her personal space. By this point, the public wasn't buying her story anymore.
For like my address or my phone number or like my location share, or I could just location share you and then we could I'm just curious.
By March 2025, multiple entertainment journalists who had initially covered the lawsuit began backtracking, and even former Lively supporters in the media started questioning her credibility, especially after Andy Senior, a prominent Hollywood commentator, analyzed the leaked text messages on his show, racking up millions of views.
She has the full exchanges. Justin then provided the full context of those exchanges, and now she's trying to claim, oh, well, we need the receipts to verify this and prove that he's smearing. You need to prove he's smearing. I thought you already did.
The narrative had flipped. Baldoni wasn't the villain anymore. Lively, once untouchable, was now under intense scrutiny. As more details emerged, it became clear this wasn't just about one lawsuit. It was about Blake Lively's long history of twisting narratives to serve her own interests. She spent years building the image of Hollywood's effortlessly charming it girl, but behind the carefully curated public persona lies a pattern of behavior far from golden. Long before making headlines for hijacking It Ends With Us and waging a legal battle against Justinbaldoni, whispers about her behind-the-scenes antics had already circulated. Stories from co-stars, crew members, and industry insiders who witnessed firsthand how she operated when the cameras weren't rolling. One of the earliest and most damning examples came from Gossip Girl.
It's to poisoning the whole cast against co-star Penn.
Back in 2007, as Gossip Girl was gearing up to define an entire era of television, casting decisions were crucial. When Penn Badgley was brought in to play Dan Humphrey, Blake Lively didn't just dislike the choice. She allegedly tried to make sure no one else liked him either. In an old Glamour interview that recently resurfaced, Lively admitted that she poisoned the entire cast against him when he was first hired.
And what I think she did with the cast of It Ends With Us, which was poison them against Justin, just like that Forbes thing proved, she lies to the director and then takes over. It looks like she also has a history of poisoning the cast to get her way. At first, I was so upset that they hired Penn for Gossip Girl, I actually poisoned the whole cast against him. Oh, how sweet of you.
She didn't even try to soften it. She flat out said she made everyone dislike him before he even had a chance to prove himself. According to her, it took a week to admit that Badgley was actually a nice guy, but by then the damage was done. She had already ensured that his introduction to the cast and crew was filled with unnecessary tension.
Poisoned the whole cast against him. Oh, how sweet of you. How nice to you.
And that wasn't even the only time she used underhanded tactics on set. Leighton Meester, who played Blair Waldorf, was the perfect foil to Lively's Serena van der Woodsen on screen. Their characters were best friends turned rivals, constantly clashing over social status and power. But behind the scenes, the rivalry wasn't just acting.
I panic before I have to wear a really skimpy outfit, but I don't have enough willpower. I had to do a scene in a bra and shorts for the first time in 2 years. On the day of the shoot, I ate a pork burrito, chips, and a Coke. Afterwards, I thought, I probably shouldn't have done.
Crew members from Gossip Girl have since revealed that Lively spread false rumors about Meester, claiming she made passive-aggressive comments about Lively's appearance and threw shade in ways that suggested Lively saw her as a threat. Unlike Lively, who came from an industry-connected background, Meester had built her career from the ground up, something that allegedly bothered Lively.
She's now refuting the reports of discord on set of Gossip Girl, which, yeah, right, give me a break. They clearly didn't like each other. There's so many rumors and things that have come out on the history of Gossip Girl.
Which, yeah, right, give me a break. They clearly didn't get along, and countless rumors have surfaced over the years about the tension on Gossip Girl. Multiple sources confirmed that Lively made things difficult for Meester both on and off set. She reportedly refused to interact with her outside of filming, never attempting to build a friendship, even when producers pushed for one to maintain the illusion of their on-screen bond.
That includes her real-life leading man, Penn Badgley. Although she admits she was unhappy when he was cast in the series, "At first I was so upset that they hired him," she says. "I actually poisoned the whole cast against him, but then they noticed that he wasn't a jerk and was actually a really nice, charming person. Almost immediately I realized that too, but it took me about a week to admit it."
And it wasn't just coldness. Crew members described Lively's condescending attitude, saying she would speak to people like toddlers, treating makeup artists, assistants, and even junior producers as if they were beneath her. If things didn't go her way on set, she would cause a scene, making production difficult for everyone involved.
Penn is now friends with Justinbaldoni. They share a bromance. Well, why? Well, they're on the same board of a charity, and they're also part of the same faith, as you can see here.
And it didn't stop there. One journalist recalled an interview where Lively allegedly mocked Meester's past struggles in a deeply personal way. Meester had a difficult childhood, growing up in a challenging family situation, something she rarely discussed publicly, but Lively, knowing the details, reportedly made a joking remark about it, framing it more like a dig than an innocent comment. Hollywood insiders note that this isn't a one-time occurrence. It's how Lively operates. If she dislikes someone, she ensures others don't like them either. If she sees a co-star as competition, she finds subtle ways to undercut them. And if she feels like she's losing control, she does everything in her power to control the narrative.
She tends to have this history of being with the co-star to get the big part, and then, Ryan Reynolds sort of stopped that, I guess. But it could, if that's true and Ryan knows that, it could explain why he might have been a little bit jealous. Now I'm starting to see.
In a last-ditch effort to prove Baldoni was smearing her, Lively is now demanding phone records from AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, claiming she needs them to show that Baldoni and his team were spreading false narratives about her. According to legal filings submitted in March 2025, Lively's team insists that Baldoni's publicist and legal representatives were leaking damaging information to the press. Critics, however, have been quick to highlight the massive irony of this request, given that Lively was the one who first accessed Baldoni's text messages in the first place.
Really can turn that screw if she wants to, calculating, manipulative, right? And mean. There's just a lot of it there, and it's all adding up. I end you with this TikTok. Kudos to this TikToker.
And this is where Lively's credibility continues to crumble. Baldoni has already provided full context, unedited messages, complete conversations, and clear documentation that directly contradict Lively's original claims, yet she keeps moving the goalposts, acting as if there's still some hidden evidence that will justify her lawsuit. It's a classic case of throwing accusations at the wall, hoping anything will stick. But as the case drags on, it's becoming painfully obvious that she's the one grasping at straws. And it's not just legal experts and media analysts calling her out. Hollywood itself is starting to distance itself from her. For years, the #MeToo movement was a powerful force in Hollywood that couldn't be challenged, and now Lively's image is taking a hit in a very public way.
Seeing the Me Too movement literally die. It's taking its last gasping breaths, but it is about to be dead.
And for good reason. The movement exposed real predators, genuine abuses of power, and victims who had been silenced for decades. But over time, it became clear that not every accusation was rooted in truth. Now, for the first time, a major Hollywood actress is failing to weaponize the movement in her favor.
One of those people, or am I? I don't know. You tell me. Is there a resemblance?
Oh, I think Blake has a type. I definitely think she has a type.
Baldoni refused to roll over. He didn't settle quietly, didn't cower under the pressure of a PR storm, and didn't let the industry blacklist him without a fight. Instead, he produced receipts, challenged Lively's claims in court, and stood his ground, even as the mainstream media initially painted him as the villain. As more evidence surfaced, the tide began to turn. By March 2025, the public no longer saw Baldoni as the abuser. They saw Lively as someone twisting narratives for personal and professional gain. Now, Hollywood itself, the industry that once protected Lively at all costs, is starting to view her in a very different light. It looks like Baldoni might be the one to expose a #MeToo power play, just as Johnny Depp did. If you want to stay ahead of this story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video.